Punishing Gray Raven has some of the most goated soundtracks of all time. Better than any other singular gacha, and better than most games in general. However, why do I say that? What makes me want to talk about the soundtrack so much? Well, actually several things, and I've decided to break it up into parts so we can talk about the different feelings PGR evokes when listening. Strap in, nerds, it's gonna get good. PGR's national anthem, Narwhal, is the song that showed us what PGR is truly capable of. It's renowned globally for how good it is. First appearing during the story Frozen Darkness, where for some reason Alpha is trying to kidnap a robot narwhal for a fucking pet. This song is the battle between Alpha and Rosetta, and what it represents. I don't have much more to say about it other than how much of a banger it is, so here, listen to it for yourselves a little bit longer. We're gonna go ahead and transition over to a much darker theme, and what feelings it invokes. Days of Wind is one such song. And while there is other OSTs that bring out a similar type of feeling, no other song does it quite like this one. All you have to do is read the lyrics. This song is meant to represent Liv's desire to protect Commandant and her dear comrades, along with the rest of humanity. Originally, she sings it while taking care of a bunch of the injured. She sings this to them, all while Commandant is in a coma after the events of Evernight Beat. This song also represents the sacrifice Liv made for the whole of humanity. If you know the story and actually paid attention, then you know the price Liv paid for using the Imperia frame, and what it did to her mind. Hell, she wasn't even supposed to live through the ordeal, and you find out how she did through the events of her Bond story. For many players, namely the ones who actually read the story, this song brings pain and sadness and trauma. Lots and lots of trauma, as we relive the events of the Surviving Lusum. Speaking of Evernight Beat, which preceded the events of Surviving Lusum, do you all remember the dread that the soundtrack brought out? Adinus and many other OSTs invoke this feeling quite nicely. These songs are usually played when things are going from bad to much worse. PGR has a way of making you feel like there is no chance of ever overcoming the odds. Like your place is in the dirt, like an insect. They make you feel as if you're scaling an unscalable wall, and I'm all here for it. Take a good listen for yourselves. Even when they do win, the one who did win is basically dead or near dead. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, however, and overcoming the odds and defying fate is the path forward that we must walk. That's the feeling brought out by Alpha's theme, Resounding Storm. As she struggles with her fate to become an agent, she fights back against the Ascension Network, even after it forced her into a new frame. Resounding Storm is all about defying destiny and the feelings that come with that, which in the PGR universe, destiny is kinda, well, fucked. and thus we come full circle, finally arriving at hope. Endless Path, at least in my opinion, does an amazing job of delivering on the theme of hope. While melancholic, it also feels like there's a semblance of hope, along with a spark of desire to fight back. Adding on to that, listening to this particular OST while Uncle Wada daddies up on the Forsaken may very well become one of the most iconic moments in PGR history. Of course, it's not just this OST that delivers the theme of hope, but I felt that it did it best. Even in the ruined world that PGR takes place in, a sense of hope amongst all the despair, well, you can't really ask for more than that. Ascending past limits and becoming a god. There's very few themes in PGR soundtrack that do this, and give off the overwhelming sense of divinity and overwhelming power. Moonlight Occultation and Under Dimension are just some of the examples I can list here. However, there's more. Overcoming fate and then pounding fate into the dirt, the feeling of power is so overwhelming in these OSTs that you can't help but listen again and again. These songs almost make you feel as if you become a god and you're committed to destroying all the enemies ahead of you. Truthfully, there are so many goated OSTs in PGR's soundtrack. Far too many to talk about in one video. And while originally I was going to do a ranking list, I realized that I couldn't do it. I like so many of these songs for different reasons, and listed just a few of them for the feelings that it draws out. Of course, PGR's specialty is combat, but it wouldn't be much of a combat-oriented game without some banger OSTs to go with it. In fact, there are so many that I'm only going to list a few, such as Lamia, Evan's Gambit, Last Resort, Dust, and Structures, and the list just goes on and on. But you get my point. When it comes to music, PGR is the bona fide king of not just gachas, but games as a whole. Very few games can even hope to compete with PGR's soundtrack. So if you liked the video and you want to see more, go ahead and hit that like button. I may even make another similar style of video to this one, if it does well. With that being said, everyone, my next video is going to be my pulls for Chew, and following that, my Vera Garnet Leap video. So I'll catch you guys on the next one, and take care.